They laughed when she handed us a worthless cave key, until we opened it, and everything changed overnight. The night we got thrown out, the cold felt louder than the silence between us. No home, no plan, just a rusted key and a place no one wanted. They said it was nothing, just a cave. But the way my sister held on to that key, like it mattered, made me wonder if we were walking away from more than we understood. We didn't know it yet, but that worthless place was about to save our lives. Before we go on, tell me where you're watching from in the comments. I read every single one. The key felt colder than the Wyoming wind. Logan Pierce stood on the front porch of the house he had grown up in, the place where every memory of his father still lived in the walls, in the floorboards, met in the quiet creak of the old wooden steps beneath his boots. Snow drifted lazily across the yard, settling over the fence line, over the rusted tractor his father had always promised to fix. Everything looked the same, but nothing was. In his palm lay the key. It was old, too old, heavy, made of tarnished brass, with grooves worn smooth by time. The kind of key that didn't belong to anything modern. The kind that felt like it carried a story, or a warning. Diane had placed it in his hand without ceremony. "That's all your father left you," she said, her voice sharp and clean, like glass cutting through the cold air. "A cave, some worthless land up in the mountains. Congratulations." Logan hadn't answered. He couldn't. Not because he didn't have something to say, but because something inside him had gone still. Oh, the same kind of stillness that used to come before everything went wrong overseas. The kind that made the world feel too quiet, too tight, like it was holding its breath. Behind him, the screen door creaked open. Clawed paws clicked against wood. Coda stepped out. The German shepherd moved slowly, his amber eyes locked on Logan first, then drifting down to the key in his hand. His ears pulled back slightly. A low, uneasy sound rumbled deep in his chest. Not a bark, not a growl. Something instinctive. Something old. Logan noticed. "You feel it too, huh?" he muttered, barely above a whisper. Coda didn't take his eyes off the key. Inside the house, Diane crossed her arms, leaning against the doorframe like she had all the time in the world. "You should probably get going," she said. "The buyers are coming by later this week. I'd like the place cleared out." Logan's jaw tightened. "The buyers?" Diane shrugged, like it was nothing. "I'm selling the property. It's mine now. Has been since your father signed everything over after the wedding. You didn't think you'd just stay here, did you?" The words hit, but not the way they should have. Instead of anger, there was a hollow space, a numbness. Logan looked past her, into the house. The kitchen table where his father used to sit every morning with a cup of black coffee. The wall where a faded photo still hung. Logan at 12, grinning beside a younger Coda, both of them covered in dirt after digging holes out back. His father standing behind them, one hand resting on Logan's shoulder. That hand had always been steady, grounding. Gone now. Logan swallowed. "You didn't waste any time," he said. Diane's expression didn't change. "Life moves on." Life moves on. The phrase echoed in his head, but it twisted into something else, something louder. A distant pop, sharp, sudden. Gunfire. Logan blinked hard. The porch disappeared for a split second, replaced by dust and heat and the sound of shouting. His chest tightened. His breath caught halfway in. Coda stepped closer instantly. The dog pressed against Logan's leg. Firm, grounding, solid. Here, now, not there. Logan exhaled slowly. The world settled back into place. The cold air, the quiet yard, the sound of wind brushing against the trees. Diane didn't notice, or didn't care. Take your things, Shifa said. Whatever you brought with you, everything else stays. Logan looked down at the key again. A cave, he said quietly. That's what he left me? Diane let out a dry laugh. A collapsed rock pit in the middle of nowhere. No utilities, no value, no use. Honestly, I'm surprised he even remembered he owned it. Logan didn't respond. But something about that didn't sit right. His father had never been careless. Not with land. Not with anything. The man had measured everything twice. Planned everything 3 times. He didn't forget things. Especially not something he owned. Coda let out another low sound, sharper this time. His body tensed, eyes flicking between Logan and the mountains far beyond the horizon, barely visible through the winter haze. Logan followed his gaze. The distant ridgeline stood silent and unmoving, like it had been there long before any of this, and would be there long after. You done staring? Diane's voice cut in. Or are you planning to freeze out here? Logan looked back at her. For a moment, something flickered in his chest. Not anger, not yet. Just clarity. He had come back from war expecting something, anything, to still be his. But this house wasn't. Not anymore. Maybe it never had been. He closed his fingers around the key. Yeah, he said. I'm done. He turned. No shouting, no argument, no fight. Just turned and walked down the steps. Coda stayed glued to his side. The snow crunched under their boots as they crossed the yard. Logan didn't look back. He knew if he did, something might break loose inside him, something he wouldn't be able to control. And he was done losing control. They reached the old pickup truck parked near the fence, the same one his father had driven for years. Logan had kept it running after he got back, went more out of habit than anything else. He opened the door, then paused. The key felt heavier now, not just cold. Heavy. Coda jumped into the passenger seat, then immediately turned, watching Logan closely. Waiting. Logan climbed in and shut the door. For a moment, neither of them moved. The silence inside the cab was thick. Logan rested his forehead against the steering wheel, closing his eyes. Everything was gone. The house, the past. The last place that felt even remotely like home. All that remained. He looked over. Coda met his gaze without hesitation. Steady. Unwavering. The dog's tail gave a small, slow thump against the seat. Logan let out a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. Guess it's just you and me now, he said. Coda didn't move. Didn't need to. Logan started the engine. And the truck rumbled to life, coughing once before settling into a low, familiar growl. He shifted into gear and pulled away from the only home he had left behind. Still, he didn't look back. Not when the house disappeared behind the trees. Not when the road curved and the mountains grew larger in the distance. Not even when the key in his hand seemed to pull his attention forward, toward something unknown, toward something waiting. Coda lifted his head, eyes fixed ahead. The same direction. The mountains. And for the first time since stepping onto that porch, something stirred inside Logan that wasn't emptiness. It wasn't hope, not yet, but it was something close. All right, he muttered, gripping the wheel tighter. Let's see what the hell he left us. The truck disappeared into the falling snow and heading straight toward the mountains and whatever was hidden inside them. The road stretched out in front of Logan like a pale ribbon swallowed by winter. Snow kept falling, soft at first, then thicker, until the world narrowed into a tunnel of white and shadow. The headlights cut through it in 2 steady beams, but everything beyond them felt distant, unreal. Logan drove without music, without talking. just the low hum of the engine and the occasional rattle of loose metal beneath the hood. It was a sound he trusted, a sound that kept him anchored in the present. Coda sat upright in the passenger seat, alert. Not tense, just aware. His eyes flicked from the windshield to Logan, then back again, as if he were watching both the road and something Logan couldn't see, as they had been driving for nearly 2 hours when the gas light blinked on. Logan noticed it but didn't react right away. He just stared at it for a few seconds, then exhaled slowly. "Yeah," he muttered. "Figures." He glanced at the dashboard. The needle hovered just above empty. There weren't many stations out this way. He knew that. His father had mentioned it before. Long stretches of nothing between towns. You planned ahead, or you paid for it. Logan hadn't planned anything. He tightened his grip on the wheel. The cold was starting to creep in through the doors, seeping through the metal like it had a mind of its own. His breath fogged faintly in the cab. He reached down and turned the heater knob, but it only coughed out lukewarm air. Coda shifted slightly, letting out a soft huff. "I know," Logan said. "Not exactly 5-star travel." Coda's ears twitched at the sound of his voice. For a moment, Logan almost smiled. Then the wind picked up. A sharp gust slammed against the side of the truck, rocking it slightly. Snow whipped across the windshield in a blur. Logan leaned forward instinctively, his body reacting before his mind caught up. The world tilted. Not the road, the feeling. A flicker, a flash. Sand instead of snow, heat instead of cold. The crack of something sharp, too sharp. Logan's breath caught. His hands tightened on the wheel, knuckles going white. Not here, not now. The truck drifted slightly toward the edge of the road. Coda reacted instantly. He barked, short, sharp, urgent. Logan blinked hard. The snow came back. The road snapped into focus. He jerked the wheel slightly, correcting course, his heart pounding hard enough to hurt. "I'm good," he said quickly, more to himself than to the dog. "I'm good." Coda didn't relax right away. He leaned closer, pressing his shoulder firmly against Logan's arm. Grounding, steady. Logan focused on that pressure, on the weight of it, the warmth, real. He forced himself to breathe slower. In, out, in, out. The panic eased, not all at once, but enough. "Thanks," he murmured. Coda didn't move. Didn't need to. The road curved ahead, dipping slightly into a narrow valley. Logan spotted a dim light in the distance. Faint, flickering. A building. He squinted, leaning forward. "Please be open," he said under his breath. As they got closer, the shape came into view. A small roadside station. One pump. A faded sign hanging crookedly above a wooden awning. Oh, the place looked like it had been standing there since before Logan was born. He pulled in slowly, tires crunching over packed snow. The engine idled for a moment before he shut it off. Silence. Thick and immediate. Logan sat there, hands still on the wheel, staring out at the empty lot. No other cars. No movement. Just a single light glowing inside the building. He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out his wallet. Thin. Too thin. He flipped it open. A few bills. Not much. Enough for gas. Maybe. He swallowed. "This is gonna be tight," he muttered. Coda shifted again, eyes still scanning. Logan opened the door. Cold air rushed in instantly, biting through his jacket like it wasn't even there. He stepped out, boots sinking slightly into the snow, and walked toward the pump. But the metal handle felt like ice in his hand. He started the pump, watching the numbers climb slowly. Too slowly. He kept his eyes on it, doing the math in his head. How far could this get them? How far did they still have to go? The mountains loomed faintly in the distance, dark shapes against a white sky. Far enough. too far to turn back. The pump clicked. Logan stared at the total for a second, then let out a quiet breath. "All right," he said. "That'll do." He climbed back into the truck, rubbing his hands together to get some feeling back. Coda looked at him immediately, still watching, still there. Logan turned the key. The engine hesitated. Once, twice, then caught. Logan closed his eyes briefly, relief washing through him. "Don't do that to me," he whispered. The truck rumbled back to life when he shifted into gear and pulled away from the station, back onto the road. The snow had eased slightly now, but the sky remained heavy, pressing down on everything. Logan drove in silence for a while. Then, without thinking, he reached into his pocket and pulled out the key again. It gleamed faintly in the dim light. Cold, solid. He turned it over in his hand. "What were you thinking?" he asked quietly. Not to Coda, to his father. "To send me out here with this." Coda's ears flicked at the sound of his voice. Logan glanced over. The dog wasn't looking at him. He was looking ahead, focused, intent, like he knew exactly where they were going. Logan followed his gaze. The road stretched forward, climbing now, winding up toward the mountains. Higher, colder, quieter. Logan tightened his grip on the wheel again. Well, there was nothing behind him anymore. No home, no safety, no one waiting. Just this road, this dog, and a key to something he didn't understand. The wind howled softly through the trees as the truck climbed higher into the mountains, disappearing deeper into the wilderness. And for the first time that night, Logan felt it. Not fear, not exactly. Something else. Something pulling him forward. Something waiting. The road narrowed as Logan climbed higher into the mountains, the world around him fading into a quiet that felt almost unnatural. The trees grew thicker here, tall pines standing like silent witnesses, their branches heavy with snow. No traffic, no lights, no signs of life. Just the truck and the sound of tires grinding over frozen gravel. Logan leaned forward slightly, eyes locked on the winding path ahead. The sky had darkened into a dull gray, and the last traces of daylight were slipping away behind the ridgeline. He hadn't checked his phone in a while. When he finally did, the screen lit up faintly, then flickered. No signal. "Of course," he muttered. Coda shifted beside him, adjusting his weight as the truck tilted along a curve. His ears remained upright, alert, constantly listening. Logan glanced at him. "You hear something?" he asked. Coda didn't respond right away. Then his head turned slightly toward the trees, listening. Logan followed his gaze. Nothing. Just wind brushing through branches. Still, the silence out here wasn't empty. It felt full, heavy, like something was watching. Logan shook the thought away and focused back on the road. Minutes passed, or maybe longer. Time had started to blur, now stretching thin between one turn and the next. Then, a shape appeared ahead. Faint at first, a break in the trees. Logan slowed the truck instinctively. As they approached, the shape took form, a weathered wooden sign, half buried in snow, leaning slightly to one side. He pulled closer and stopped. The engine idled softly as he rolled down the window, just enough to brush away the frost. The letters were faded, but still readable. Black Ridge, private access road. Logan stared at it for a moment. "This is it," he said quietly. Coda let out a low breath, almost like a sigh. Logan turned the wheel and guided the truck onto the narrower path. The difference was immediate. The main road had been rough. This was something else entirely. The trail was barely maintained, uneven and partially hidden beneath packed snow and ice. The truck bounced as Logan eased forward, careful not to push too hard. The forest closed in tighter around them. Branches scraped lightly against the sides of the truck, a hollow scratching sound that echoed in the cab. Coda shifted again, more tense now. Logan noticed. "Easy," he said. "We're all right." But even as he said it, he wasn't sure. The deeper they went, the more the world seemed to fall away. No sound of distant roads, no signs of other people, just trees, endless trees, and the feeling that they had crossed into somewhere older. The path dipped suddenly. Logan hit the brakes gently, easing the truck down into a shallow valley. At the bottom, the snow thinned slightly, revealing patches of frozen dirt and rock. Then, as they climbed the other side, the truck sputtered. Once, twice. Logan's heart jumped. "Come on! Not now!" The engine coughed, struggling. Coda's head snapped toward him. Logan pressed the gas lightly. The truck jerked forward, then steadied. But the sound had changed. Rougher, uncertain. Logan frowned, listening. "That's not good," he said under his breath. He eased off the gas, trying to keep the engine from overworking. They couldn't stop here. Not like this. The forest felt too close, too quiet, as if it would swallow them the moment the engine died. Logan pushed on. A few more turns, a few more minutes. Then, a light. Warm, golden, barely visible through the trees. Logan blinked. "You seeing that?" he asked. Coda was already staring at it. Logan followed the faint glow, steering carefully toward it as the path widened slightly. And then, just like that, the forest opened. A clearing, small, rough. At the center stood a low wooden structure, a cabin or shack, its roof heavy with snow, smoke curling lazily from a metal chimney. Light spilled from a single window. Logan slowed the truck, bringing it to a stop at the edge of the clearing. He stared at the building. "Didn't expect that," he murmured. Coda didn't relax. If anything, he grew more alert. Logan noticed the shift. "Easy," he said again, though quieter this time. He reached for the door handle, then paused. The feeling returned. That same pull. But now, it wasn't just ahead. It was here. Logan opened the door slowly and stepped out. The cold hit him instantly, sharp and biting, but it felt different here, less empty somehow, of the kind of cold that carried life with it. The snow crunched beneath his boots as he approached the cabin. Each step felt heavier than the last. Coda stayed close, shoulder brushing against Logan's leg. They reached the door. Logan hesitated for a moment, then knocked. The sound echoed softly against the wood. Silence. A few seconds passed. Then, movement inside. Footsteps. Slow. Measured. The door creaked open. An old man stood there. Late 60s, maybe older. Thick beard, weathered face, eyes sharp beneath heavy brows. He wore a heavy flannel shirt and suspenders, the kind of man who looked like he had lived out here his entire life. He didn't seem surprised, just curious. "Evenin'," the man said, voice rough but steady. Logan nodded once. "Sorry to bother you," he said. "Truck's acting up, road's getting rough. But wasn't sure how much further I'd make it." The old man studied him for a moment. Then his gaze shifted to Coda. The dog stood still, eyes locked on the man. Not aggressive, not friendly either, just aware. The old man nodded slowly. "Dog's got good instincts," he said. Logan didn't respond. The man looked back at him. You heading up the ridge? He asked. Logan hesitated, then reached into his pocket. He pulled out the key. The old man's eyes flicked to it. Something changed. Subtle. But there. Yeah, Logan said. I think I am. The man leaned slightly against the doorframe. Then you're further from nowhere than you realize, he said. Logan frowned. What's that supposed to mean? The old man held his gaze for a long second, then stepped back, opening the door wider. Means you better come inside, he said. Oh, before that truck decides it's done for good. Logan hesitated. The wind picked up behind him, brushing through the trees. Cold. Empty. Coda nudged his leg once. Forward. Logan made his decision. He stepped inside. The warmth hit him immediately. Thick, heavy, carrying the smell of wood smoke and something cooking over a fire. The space was small but solid, built with care. Tools hung neatly on the walls. A cast-iron stove glowed faintly in the corner. The old man closed the door behind them. For a moment, the silence felt different, safer, but not entirely. Logan turned. Appreciate it, he said. The man nodded. Name's Walter Hayes, he said. Logan extended a hand. Logan Pierce. Walter shook it once, firm. Then his eyes drifted back to the key still in Logan's hand. Oh, you said you were heading up the ridge, Walter said. Logan followed his gaze. Yeah, Walter nodded slowly. Then I guess your father finally decided it was time. Logan froze. What? Walter met his eyes, and for the first time since opening the door, he smiled. Small, knowing. Your father, Walter said. He ever tell you about what he left up there? Logan's grip tightened around the key. No, he said quietly. Walter's smile faded slightly. Didn't think so. He turned, pouring something hot into a tin cup, then handed it to Logan. You should know one thing, he said. Logan took the cup, heat seeping into his frozen hands. What's that? Walter looked at him again. His voice dropped just slightly. Your father never left anything behind. That didn't matter. The words settled into the room, heavy and unavoidable. Coda sat beside Logan, still watching, still alert. And for the first time since leaving that house, Logan felt it again. Not just the pull, but the certainty. Whatever was waiting for him in those mountains, it wasn't worthless. Not even close. The fire cracked softly inside Walter Hayes' cabin, casting long shadows across the wooden walls. Logan sat at the small table, hands wrapped around the tin cup, letting the heat sink into his fingers. Across from him, Walter leaned back in his chair, studying him in a way that felt less like curiosity and more like recognition. Coda lay near the door, but he wasn't resting. His head was up, eyes sharp, watching everything. Logan noticed. He's been like that all night, he said quietly. Walter nodded. Good dog, he replied. Oh, doesn't ignore what he feels. Logan glanced at Coda again. What does he feel? Walter didn't answer right away. Instead, he reached for a small metal kettle on the stove, pouring himself another cup before speaking. Depends, he said. You listen when he tells you something? Logan hesitated, then shook his head slightly. Not always. Walter gave a small, knowing grunt. You might want to start. Silence settled between them again, but it wasn't uncomfortable. Just heavy. Logan leaned back slightly, eyes drifting to the window. Outside, the snow had eased, leaving the mountains wrapped in a pale, ghostly stillness. You knew my father, Logan said after a moment. Walter nodded once. Long time ago. What was he doing out here? Walter's gaze shifted to the fire. "Building something," he said. Logan frowned. What kind of something?" Walter looked back at him. "The kind a man doesn't talk about unless he has to." That answer didn't help. But somehow, it didn't surprise Logan either. His father had always been like that. Quiet, careful, carrying things he never explained. Logan stared down at the key in his hand. Cold, solid, heavy in a way that didn't match its size. "He left this to me," Logan said. Walter's eyes followed the key again. "Yeah," he said. "Looks like he did." Logan's voice lowered. "He left me nothing else." Walter studied him for a long second, then shook his head. "No," he said quietly. "He didn't." Logan's jaw tightened. "That's not how it felt," he said. Walter didn't argue, didn't try to convince him otherwise. He just leaned forward slightly, resting his forearms on the table. Your father knew people," Walter said, "and he knew what they'd do when he was gone." Logan looked up. "What does that mean?" Walter's expression didn't change. "It means," he said slowly, "if he gave you that key, then whatever's up that mountain was meant for you." The words settled into Logan's chest. Not comfort. Not yet. But something close to direction. Coda stood up. Suddenly. Logan turned toward him. "What is it?" Coda moved toward the door, tail low but steady, ears forward. He stopped just inches from the wood, staring at it, waiting. Walter noticed too. "He wants out," he said. Logan frowned. "It's freezing." Coda let out a short, sharp bark. Not impatient, urgent. Logan stood. "All right," he said. "All right." He pulled on his jacket and opened the door. Cold air rushed in immediately, sharp and clean. Coda didn't hesitate. He stepped outside. Logan followed. The night had settled fully now. The sky stretched wide above the mountains, scattered with stars that looked close enough to touch. The snow reflected their light, giving the entire clearing a faint glow. Coda moved forward a few steps, then stopped. His nose lifted slightly, testing the air. Logan watched him. "What are you picking up?" he murmured. Coda turned his head, toward the ridge, the same direction Logan had been heading, the same direction as the cave. Then Coda started walking. Not fast, not reckless, just steady, purposeful. Logan frowned. "Coda," he called. "Hey!" The dog didn't stop. Logan hesitated, then followed. The snow crunched under his boots as he moved after him, the cold biting deeper with each step. They passed the edge of the clearing, entering the trees again. The forest felt different at night. Quieter, tighter, like it was holding its breath. Coda kept moving. Logan stayed close behind, his eyes adjusting slowly to the dim light. The path wasn't clear, but Coda didn't seem to need one. He knew where he was going. After a few minutes, Logan's breath started to cloud heavier in the air. "How far are you going, huh?" he muttered. Coda didn't answer, didn't slow, then he stopped, abruptly. Logan nearly walked into him. "What?" He cut himself off. There, ahead of them, barely visible beneath a layer of snow and fallen branches, was rock. Not just scattered stones, a formation. Large, jagged, collapsed in on itself like something that had been broken long ago. Logan stepped closer. The air felt colder here, still. Coda moved forward again, sniffing along the base of the rocks. Then he started digging, hard, fast. Snow and dirt flew behind him as his paws tore into the ground. "Coda!" Hey, what are you doing? Logan stepped closer, watching. The dog didn't stop, didn't even look up. He dug deeper, claws scraping against something beneath the surface. Stone. Logan's heartbeat picked up. Coda? The dog let out a low growl, pushing harder, digging faster. Then, a sharp sound. Coda yelped. Logan froze. Coda! He dropped to his knees, grabbing the dog gently by the shoulders. Hey, easy! Coda pulled back slightly, favoring one front leg. Logan's chest tightened. You're hurt, he said, voice low. But Coda didn't retreat, didn't back away. He stepped forward again, back to the same spot, and started digging again. Slower now, careful, driven. Logan stared at him. You're not letting this go, are you? Coda didn't answer. He just kept digging. Logan looked down at the ground, at the spot Coda was focused on. Then, slowly, he started clearing snow with his hands. Cold burned into his skin instantly, but he ignored it. He pushed aside dirt, rock, ice, until his fingers hit something solid. Different, not natural. Logan brushed it off carefully, and there it was. Metal, dark, old, partially buried beneath the stone. He cleared more, revealing the shape. A lock, embedded into something beneath the surface. Logan sat back slightly, staring at it. His breath came out slow. Okay, he whispered. Coda stood beside him, breathing hard, but steady. Waiting. Logan reached into his pocket, pulled out the key. Oh, for a moment. He just held it there. The cold metal in his hand felt heavier than before. More real. More important. He looked at Coda. The dog met his eyes, unblinking, certain. Logan nodded once. All right, he said quietly. He leaned forward and brought the key toward the lock. For a second, his hand hovered there. The cold metal of the key trembled slightly between his fingers, not from the cold, but from something deeper. Instinct. Memory. The same kind of hesitation that had kept him alive in places where one wrong move meant everything ended. Coda stood beside him, breathing steady, eyes locked on the motion, waiting. Logan exhaled slowly. All right, he whispered. The key slid into the lock. Perfect. No resistance. No hesitation. Like it had been waiting for this exact moment. Logan's breath caught, yet he tightened his grip and turned it. A deep, heavy click echoed beneath the stone. Then, a low rumble. The ground shifted. Logan froze. Coda, back! But it was already happening. The rocks above them trembled, a sharp cracking sound tearing through the silence as a section of the collapsed formation gave way. Snow and debris slid loose, cascading down in a sudden, violent rush. Logan lunged forward, grabbing Coda by the collar, pulling him back as the ground in front of them dropped slightly. A slab of stone tilted and slammed down with a thunderous crash. The world filled with noise. Dust, snow, movement everywhere. Logan stumbled, dragging Coda with him, trying to keep his footing as loose rock shifted under his boots. Then, a sharp cry. Coda. Logan's heart stopped. Coda! The dog twisted in his grip, pulling away. Logan dropped to his knees, scanning wildly through the settling debris. Where are you? There. A dark shape, partially buried beneath a fallen section of rock. Coda struggled, pinned at the side. One front leg trapped beneath a heavy slab. Logan moved instantly. I got you. Hold on. He dropped beside him, hands already digging, pushing against the rock. It didn't budge. Too heavy. Logan's breathing turned sharp. No, come on. Coda let out a low whine, but his eyes stayed on Logan. Not panicked, not afraid. Just waiting. Trusting. That made it worse. Logan gritted his teeth. "Stay with me, all right? Just stay with me." He shifted his position, bracing one knee against the ground, both hands pressing harder against the edge of the slab. His muscles screamed, as the cold burned into his skin. "Move!" he shouted under his breath. The rock shifted, barely, but enough. Logan pushed harder, every ounce of strength pouring into it. A flash. A sound. Not here. Not now. The world flickered again, dust turning to sand, the crack of falling stone twisting into something else. Logan's breath hitched, his vision blurred. Coda barked. Sharp. Loud. Right in front of him. Logan blinked hard. The mountain snapped back into place. Snow, rock, cold air. Coda, focus. "Stay with me," Logan muttered, more to himself now. He adjusted his grip, pushed again. The rock shifted more this time, scraping against the ground. Logan forced it higher, just enough. "Pull!" Coda didn't hesitate. He yanked his leg free, stumbling back as Logan let the slab drop. The impact shook the ground. That silence followed. Heavy. Still. Logan dropped back onto his heels, chest heaving. "Coda!" The dog limped toward him immediately, pressing into his side. Alive. Logan's hand moved over him quickly, checking. No blood. No. He found it. A scrape along the leg. Not deep, but enough to make Coda favor it. Logan exhaled sharply. "You're okay," he said. "You're okay." Coda leaned into him, breathing steady, as if nothing had happened, as if he hadn't just been buried under a mountain. Logan let out a shaky laugh. "You're insane, you know that?" Coda's tail moved once. Slow. Logan sat there for a moment, one hand still resting on the dog, grounding himself. The silence around them felt different now. Broken. Opened. Logan turned his head slowly. The collapsed rock had shifted just enough to reveal something beneath it. On a gap. Dark. Man-made. Not natural. Logan stared at it. His breathing slowed. "You see that?" he whispered. Coda followed his gaze. The dog's ears lifted slightly. Logan pushed himself to his feet, every movement careful now, deliberate. He stepped closer. The opening was narrow but clear, just enough space to see inside. Metal. A surface. Flat. Smooth. Logan brushed away loose snow from the edge. And there it was. A door. Not wood. Not stone. Steel. Old, but intact. Embedded directly into the mountain. Logan stepped back slightly, eyes wide. "No way!" His voice barely carried. Coda stood beside him, steady despite the limp. Watching. Guarding. Logan reached out slowly, running his fingers along the edge of the door. Cold. Solid. Real. "This is what you were digging for," he said quietly. But Coda didn't respond. Didn't need to. Logan looked down at the key still in his hand, then back at the door. "This isn't just a cave," he said. The words felt strange, heavy, important, the kind of realization that changes something inside you before you even understand it. Logan swallowed. His pulse started to pick up again. Not fear this time. Something else. Anticipation. He stepped forward, gripped the handle, paused for just a second, then pulled. The door didn't open right away. It resisted. Then, with a deep, grinding sound, it gave. The metal shifted inward, slow but certain, revealing darkness beyond. A cold breath of air rushed out from inside, older than the mountain itself. Logan stepped back instinctively. Coda moved slightly in front of him. Protective. Always. Logan stared into the darkness, on heart pounding. "All right," he whispered. And for the first time since everything had fallen apart, he felt it clearly. This wasn't the end. This was the beginning. The darkness inside the doorway felt alive. Not moving, not breathing, but present. Logan stood at the threshold, one hand still gripping the cold steel edge of the door. The wind outside brushed against his back, carrying the sharp bite of winter. But the air coming from inside the mountain felt different. Dry, still, preserved. Coda stepped forward first. Slow, measured. His injured leg barely noticeable now, driven by something stronger than pain. "Coda," Logan said quietly. But the dog didn't stop. He crossed the threshold and disappeared into the darkness. Logan swallowed, then followed. The moment he stepped inside, the world changed. But the sound of the wind vanished, replaced by silence so complete it almost rang in his ears. The air was colder here, but not in the same way. It wasn't the kind of cold that bit through your skin. It was deeper, older, like the mountain itself had been holding onto it for years. Logan reached back, pulling a small flashlight from his jacket pocket. He clicked it on. The beam cut through the darkness and revealed a narrow corridor. Metal walls, reinforced, bolted. The floor beneath his boots wasn't dirt or stone. It was concrete. Logan's breath slowed. "This isn't a cave," he said under his breath. Coda stood a few feet ahead, waiting for him. Logan stepped forward. Each footstep echoed faintly, controlled, contained, like the place was designed to swallow sound. The corridor stretched ahead, slightly sloped downward, disappearing into shadow. Logan moved carefully. Every instinct in his body was alert now. Not panic, not fear. Training. Old habits waking up. Clear the corners. Watch the angles. Listen. But there was nothing to hear. Just the faint hum of his own breathing and Coda's steady presence ahead. They reached the end of the corridor. A second door stood there, thicker, heavier. Logan paused in front of it. His fingers brushed along the surface. Cold steel, worn slightly around the edges, like it had been used before, but not recently. He looked down. A keypad, old-fashioned. Numbers faded, but still visible. Logan frowned. "Guess he didn't make this easy," he muttered. Coda shifted beside him. Then, a soft click. Logan froze. "What?" The door unlocked, on its own. Logan stared at it, while the keypad remained dark, inactive, but the lock had disengaged. Slowly, the door creaked open. Logan's pulse picked up. "That's not creepy at all," he whispered. Coda stepped forward again. No hesitation. Logan followed. The room beyond opened wide, far wider than he expected. The flashlight beam swept across the space, and everything stopped. Shelves, crates, metal cabinets lining the walls, a long table at the center, equipment, organized, preserved. Logan stepped in slowly, the beam of light moving across objects that didn't belong in a mountain. Documents, sealed containers, old military cases. His breath caught. "No way!" He moved closer to the table, ran his fingers along the surface. Dust, but not thick, like someone had been here, not too long ago. Coda moved around the room, scanning, checking every corner, every shadow, protecting, always protecting. Logan turned his attention to the shelves. He picked up a folder, opened it. Inside, documents, official, stamped, classified. His eyes moved quickly across the pages. Names, dates, coordinates. And then, one name stopped him cold. Pierce. Logan Pierce. His hands tightened around the paper. This, this doesn't make sense. He flipped through more pages, more references, more files. Everything pointing back to one thing: his father. This wasn't random. This wasn't abandoned. This place had a purpose, a mission. Logan moved to another cabinet, opened it. Inside, cash, stacks, neatly bundled, more than he could process at once. Logan stepped back slightly. What the hell? The words barely came out. Coda returned to his side, pressing lightly against his leg, grounding him. Logan forced himself to breathe. In, out. Focus. He turned back to the table. There was something else there. A single envelope, placed deliberately at the center, different from everything else. Personal. Logan's hand hovered over it. He didn't open it yet. Not yet. Instead, he looked around the room again. Really looked this time. This wasn't just storage. It was preparation. Careful. Intentional. Every item placed with purpose. Logan's chest tightened. This was for me, he whispered. Coda looked up at him. Logan swallowed. The weight of it settled slowly. Not all at once, but enough. His father hadn't left him with nothing. He had left him with everything. Logan looked down at the envelope again. His name was written on it, in his father's handwriting, steady, familiar. His hand trembled slightly as he picked it up. For a moment, he couldn't open it, because once he did, there was no going back. No more questions, only answers. Coda stepped closer, sat beside him. Quiet. Present. Logan nodded once. All right, he said. His voice barely held. He opened the envelope. The paper inside was thick, old, folded carefully, like it had been handled more than once before being sealed away. Logan's fingers hesitated for just a second. Then he unfolded it. The sound of paper shifting echoed softly in the bunker. Coda sat beside him, still watching. Logan lowered his eyes and began to read. Logan, if you're reading this, then it means I was right about one thing. You didn't walk away. For a moment, Logan couldn't breathe. The words blurred slightly. He blinked, while focused again. I know how this looks. I know what she'll tell you. That I left you with nothing. That I forgot you. That I chose her over you. But son, that was never the truth. Logan's jaw tightened. His grip on the paper stiffened. Diane. Her voice echoed in his head. Cold. Final. You got what he thought you were worth. Logan swallowed hard. I had to make it look that way. Because the people around us, they weren't just waiting for me to go. They were waiting for what I left behind. Logan's eyes narrowed, a flicker of something sharper than confusion. I saw it in her, in the way she talked about the land, the house, the accounts. Not once did she ask about you. That's when I knew. If I left everything out in the open, it wouldn't reach you. It would disappear before you even had a chance. And Logan's chest tightened. The room felt smaller. He shifted slightly, leaning against the edge of the table, grounding himself. Coda pressed lightly against his leg. So I made a choice. A hard one. I gave them what they wanted to see, and I hid what mattered. For you. Logan closed his eyes briefly. A breath. Slow. Shaky. When he opened them again, the words seemed heavier. I know you've been fighting things I can't fix. I saw it the last time you came home. The way you moved. The way you listened to sounds no one else heard. You think I didn't understand? Son, I knew. Every quiet moment. Every time you stepped outside just to breathe. Every night. You didn't sleep. Logan's hand trembled. The paper shook slightly. He hadn't told him. Not really. Not in words. But somehow, he had known. I didn't push you, because I know what it means to carry things like that. And I also know the worst thing a man can feel is like he's alone in it. Logan's vision blurred again. This time he didn't fight it. You're not alone, Logan. You never were. Logan let out a breath that felt like it had been trapped in his chest for years. Coda shifted closer. Logan's hand dropped, resting instinctively against the dog's back. Warm. Real. Everything in this place. It's yours. The money, the records, the land, protected under trust. No one can touch it without you. Not her. Not anyone. Logan's eyes moved faster now, heart pounding. There are things in those files you need to see. People who thought they were smarter than me. People who thought they could take what wasn't theirs. I left you proof, and a way to fight back. But listen to me carefully. This isn't about revenge. It never was. Logan paused. The words settled in differently. It's about truth, and what you choose to do with it. Logan's breathing slowed. The anger that had started to rise shifted. Not gone, but changed. If you're reading this, it means you made it through the hardest part, and I'm proud of you for that. More than you'll ever know. Logan's throat tightened. The room felt too quiet, too still. Take care of yourself. Take care of that dog. I knew he'd find you before you found yourself. And when the time comes, don't carry this alone anymore. You don't have to. Dad. The silence that followed felt heavier than anything Logan had faced in years. He didn't move, didn't speak. The paper hung loosely in his hand, but his shoulders dropped slowly, like something inside him had finally let go. Logan sat down, not carefully, not controlled, just sat. The letter slipped slightly in his grip. He didn't notice. His breathing became uneven, then shallow. Then it broke. A sound escaped him. Low, raw, not loud, but deep. The kind of sound that doesn't come from the surface. Coda moved instantly. He stepped closer, pressing his body firmly against Logan's side. Steady, grounding. Logan's hand found him again, gripping into his fur, holding on. "Damn it," Logan whispered. His voice cracked. "I thought." He couldn't finish it. Didn't need to. The weight of everything, years of silence, anger, confusion, collapsed all at once. And for the first time, he didn't fight it. He let it come. The tears, the breath, the release. So Coda stayed with him. Didn't move. Didn't pull away. Just there. Through it all. Time passed. Logan didn't know how long. Minutes. Maybe longer. But eventually, the storm inside him eased. Not gone, but quieter. Manageable. He took a slow breath, then another. His grip on Coda loosened slightly. "Yeah," he murmured. "I hear you." He looked down at the letter again, then around the bunker, at the files, the evidence, the truth his father had hidden and protected. Logan's eyes hardened slightly. Not cold, but focused, different than before. He wasn't lost anymore. He stood slowly, careful, deliberate. Coda stepped back just enough to give him space, but stayed close, always close. Logan folded the letter carefully, placed it back in the envelope, then tucked it inside his jacket, close to his chest, and where it belonged. He looked around one more time, at everything his father had left behind, everything he had fought to protect. Logan exhaled, long, steady. "All right," he said quietly. His voice didn't shake this time. "We're not done." Coda's ears lifted slightly. Logan turned toward the exit, toward the mountain, toward everything waiting outside. And for the first time since he had been thrown out into the cold, he wasn't running anymore. He was going back. The cold hit him again the moment he stepped out of the bunker. Sharp, clean, real. Logan paused just outside the steel door, letting the mountain air fill his lungs. It felt different now, not empty like before, not hostile, clear, like something inside him had shifted and the world had followed. Coda stood beside him, steady despite the slight limp, her eyes scanning the tree line as always. Logan rested a hand briefly on his back. "We're not done yet," he said quietly. Coda's ears twitched. Logan turned, looking back at the hidden entrance, at the rocks, the snow, the darkness that had nearly buried everything his father left behind. "They thought this was nothing," Logan murmured. His jaw tightened slightly. "They were wrong." The wind moved softly through the trees, carrying that same low, distant sound. But this time, it didn't unsettle him. Logan made his way back toward Walter's cabin, Coda close at his side. The walk felt shorter now, more direct. His steps had purpose. The cabin light still glowed faintly in the clearing. Walter was waiting. He stood on the porch, arms crossed, watching Logan approach like he already knew what had happened. Well, Logan didn't speak right away. He just walked up the steps. Walter's eyes moved from Logan to Coda, then back again. "You found it," he said. It wasn't a question. Logan nodded once. Walter exhaled slowly. "Took you long enough," he muttered. Logan gave a faint, tired half-smile. "Yeah, well, it wasn't exactly marked." Walter stepped aside, letting them in. Inside, the fire still burned, the warmth wrapping around Logan again. But now, it didn't feel like shelter. It felt like a place between two worlds. Logan stepped forward. "I need to know everything," he said. Walter studied him carefully, then nodded. "Sit." Logan didn't. He stayed standing. Coda remained at his side, unmoving. Walter noticed. "All right," he said. "Then listen." He leaned back against the table. "Oh, your father wasn't just some ranch owner," Walter began. "He had ties, deep ones, military, private work, the kind that doesn't get talked about." Logan crossed his arms slightly. "I saw the bunker," he said. "The files." Walter nodded. "Then you know it wasn't just storage." Logan's eyes hardened. "It was protection." Walter gave a small nod. "And insurance." Logan didn't respond. Walter continued. "There were people who wanted that land, not because of what's on top of it, but because of what's under it. Strategic access, routes through the ridge, old agreements." Logan's brow furrowed. "And Diane?" he asked. Walter's expression darkened slightly. "She didn't start it," he said, "but she sure as hell didn't stop it." Logan felt the tension rise in his chest again. "Who's she working with?" Walter hesitated, and then reached into a drawer, pulled out a folded document. He handed it to Logan. Logan took it, opened it. His eyes scanned the page. Names, legal filings, property transfers, and then a company name, Blackridge Holdings. Logan's grip tightened. They tried to move the land, he said. Walter nodded. Not tried, he corrected. They've been working on it for months. Logan's heart rate picked up. But it didn't go through. Walter shook his head. No, he said, because your father set it up in a trust, locked, untouchable without your signature. Logan exhaled slowly. They couldn't take it, he said. Walter met his eyes. So they made sure you never showed up to claim it. The room went quiet. Coda shifted slightly, pressing closer. Logan stared down at the paper. They cut me out, he said. But Walter didn't answer. Didn't need to. Logan's jaw tightened. They let me think I had nothing, he continued. Exactly. Logan's hand curled slightly around the document. That house, the ranch, still yours, Walter said. Every inch of it. Logan looked up, a flicker of something new in his eyes. Not confusion, not pain. Clarity. They lied, he said. Walter nodded once. They counted on you walking away. Logan let out a slow breath. Then, a sound. Outside. Faint. But wrong. Coda reacted instantly. His head snapped toward the door. Ears up, body tense. Logan noticed. What is it? Coda moved toward the door, low and focused. Walter's expression shifted. That's not the wind, he said quietly. Logan's body tensed. Old instincts sliding into place without effort. He stepped toward the window, not moving just enough to see outside without exposing himself. The clearing looked empty, still. But there, at the edge of the trees, a shape. Movement. Logan's voice dropped. We've got company. Walter cursed under his breath. I told him not to push it this far. Logan turned. Him? Walter didn't answer right away. Then, investor, he said. The one backing Diane. Logan's eyes hardened. Of course. Coda let out a low growl. Not loud, but enough. Logan stepped back from the window. They followed me, he said. Walter shook his head. No, he said. They were already watching this place. That hit harder. Logan's mind moved quickly. They know about the land, he said. Walter nodded. They don't know about the bunker, he replied. Not yet. Coda shifted again, closer, protective. Logan looked down at him, then back at Walter. They can't get what they want without me, Logan said. Walter gave a tight nod. Which means you just became their problem. The weight of that settled fast, but Logan didn't step back, didn't hesitate. He looked toward the door, toward the dark beyond the clearing, then back at Walter. I'm not hiding, he said. Walter studied him for a long second, then nodded. Didn't think you would. Coda stepped forward. Ready. Logan reached down, resting a hand briefly on his head. Stay close, he murmured. The dog didn't look away from the door. Didn't need to. Logan straightened. The fear from before was gone. Replaced by something sharper. Controlled. Focused. They wanted me out of the way, Logan said quietly. He moved toward the door. They should have made sure I stayed that way. The handle turned. The cold rushed in. And this time, Logan stepped into it on his own terms. The cold wrapped around him instantly, sharp and unforgiving. But Logan didn't flinch. He stepped off the porch slowly, boots pressing into the snow, Every movement controlled, deliberate. The clearing stretched out in front of him, pale under the dim starlight. Still. Too still. Coda moved beside him, low and silent, his body tense but steady. The limp was still there, but he ignored it completely. Logan scanned the tree line. Nothing at first. Then, a shift, barely visible. A shadow where there shouldn't be one. Logan's voice stayed calm. "I know you're out there," he called. "You might as well stop hiding." Silence answered him. The wind moved through the trees, went brushing branches together in a low, whispering sound. Then, a voice. From the darkness. "You're a hard man to find, Logan Pierce." Logan didn't turn his head. Didn't react. "Guess you didn't try hard enough," he replied. A figure stepped out from the trees. Then another. And another. 3 men. Dressed for the cold, faces partially covered, but their posture said everything. Not locals. Not lost. Purposeful. The first man stepped forward slightly. "You've got something that doesn't belong to you," he said. Logan's jaw tightened. "Funny," he replied. "I was just thinking the same thing." The man smiled faintly. Not friendly. "You don't understand what you're dealing with," he said. Logan's eyes stayed locked on him. "No," he said quietly. "I think I do." Coda let out a low growl. And the sound cut through the air like a warning. The men noticed. One of them shifted slightly, hand moving toward his jacket. Logan saw it. His body reacted before his mind caught up. "Don't," Logan said sharply. The tension snapped tight. The wind died. The entire world seemed to hold its breath. The man paused, then smirked. "You really think this ends with you walking away?" he asked. Logan didn't answer right away. Instead, he took a small step forward. Coda stayed in perfect sync beside him. "You're not getting that land," Logan said. The man tilted his head slightly. "We already have it," he replied. Logan's eyes narrowed. "No," he said. "You don't." A flicker of irritation crossed the man's face. "Then you're going to make this harder than it needs to be," he said. Logan's voice dropped. "You already did that." The second man moved. Fast. Too fast. Logan reacted instantly, shifting his stance, but not fast enough. Everything happened at once. A sudden movement. A flash of motion. Coda lunged, straight into the space between them. A sharp impact. A sound. Not loud, but final. Logan's world stopped. "Coda!" The dog staggered, then collapsed against him. Logan dropped to his knees, catching him before he hit the ground. "No, no, no." His hands moved quickly, checking, searching. "Coda, hey, stay with me! Stay with me!" The dog's breathing was shallow. But there, still there. Logan's chest tightened painfully. The world around him blurred. The men stepped back slightly, unsure now. The moment had shifted. Something had changed. Logan looked up, and what they saw in his eyes wasn't fear. It wasn't panic. It was something colder. Something controlled. Something they hadn't expected. "You should leave," Logan said quietly. The first man hesitated. "You don't want to do this," he replied. Logan's voice didn't rise, didn't shake. "I'm not asking." The silence that followed stretched thin. The men exchanged a glance. Then, slowly, they backed off. One step, then another. Into the trees. Gone. Just like that. The clearing fell silent again, but it didn't feel the same. Logan didn't care about them anymore. His entire world had narrowed to one thing. Coda. Hey, Logan whispered, his voice breaking. Stay with me, all right? Stay with me. Coda's eyes flickered slightly, still focused, still there. Logan pressed his forehead gently against the dog's. You're not done, he said. You hear me? Yet you're not done. His hands moved quickly, steady despite the storm inside him. Training. Focus. He tore a strip from his sleeve, pressing it carefully, doing what he could. Stay with me. Coda let out a faint breath. Logan's chest tightened again. I got you, he said. I got you. He lifted the dog carefully into his arms. Coda didn't resist, didn't pull away, just stayed close, trusting, always trusting. Logan stood. The weight in his arms didn't feel heavy. It felt like everything. He turned back toward the cabin, each step steady, focused. The pain inside him burned, but it didn't break him. Not this time. Not anymore. Walter opened the door before Logan reached it. One look. That was all it took. Inside, Walter said quickly. Logan didn't stop, didn't hesitate. He stepped in. Oh, the warmth hit him again, but now it felt distant, muted. Everything did, except Coda. Logan laid him down carefully. His hands never left him. Stay with me, he said again. Softer now, more desperate. Coda's breathing slowed, but steady. Still steady. Logan leaned closer, his voice barely above a whisper. You saved me, he said. His throat tightened. Again. Coda didn't move. Didn't need to. He was still there, and that was enough. For now. The cabin felt smaller than before. The fire still burned, steady and warm, but the air carried something heavier now. Urgency, tension, the quiet edge of something about to change. Logan knelt beside Coda, one hand resting gently on his side, feeling each breath rise and fall. Slow, but steady. Walter worked across from him, pulling supplies from an old wooden cabinet. Bandages, antiseptic, tools that had clearly been used more than once in places far from hospitals. He's strong, Walter said quietly. Stronger than most. Logan didn't respond. His eyes never left Coda. Stay with me, he murmured again. Walter moved closer, kneeling down. Let me take a look, he said. Logan hesitated, just for a second, then nodded. Walter worked carefully, his hands steady, practiced. This isn't deep, he said after a moment. It's bad, but it missed anything vital. Logan exhaled, but the tension didn't leave his body. Walter glanced up. He's going to need rest, he added, and time. Logan nodded slowly. I'll give him both. Coda's eyes flickered open briefly. Logan leaned closer instantly. Hey, I'm right here, he said. The dog's gaze found him, focused, present. Then his eyes closed again, but not from weakness, from trust. Logan swallowed hard. You did enough, he whispered. You hear me? You did more than enough. Walter stood, wiping his hands on a cloth. They won't stop, he said. Logan didn't look up. I know. They'll come back, Walter continued, with more people, more pressure. Logan finally lifted his gaze. Good, he said. Walter studied him carefully. That's not a fight you win alone. Logan stood slowly. I'm not alone, he said. His hand rested briefly on Coda's back. Walter followed his gaze, then nodded once. No, he said. You're not. Silence settled again. But this time, it wasn't uncertainty. It was preparation. Logan walked to the table, picking up the documents Walter had shown him earlier. The names, the company, the paper trail that tied everything together. Black Ridge Holdings. He stared at the name. "They think this is about land," Logan said. Walter crossed his arms. "It always is," he replied. Logan shook his head slightly. "No," he said. "It's about control." He folded the papers carefully. "They've been moving pieces for months," he continued. "Maybe longer." Walter nodded. "And now you're in the way." Logan's expression didn't change. "Then I stop being in the way," he said. Walter frowned slightly. "That doesn't sound like you're backing down." Logan looked at him. "I'm not," he said. "I'm stepping in." The words hung in the air, clear, final. Walter let out a slow breath. "Then you're going to need help." Logan nodded. "I know someone." Walter raised an eyebrow. "Out here?" Logan shook his head. In town." He reached into his jacket, pulling out his phone. Still no signal. He glanced toward the door. "Signal comes back near the lower ridge," Walter said. Logan nodded. "I'll make the call there." He looked back at Coda, still resting, still breathing steady. Logan's jaw tightened slightly. "I'm not leaving him," he said. Walter shook his head. "You won't have to," he replied. "I'll stay here." Logan hesitated. "You sure?" Walter gave a small, dry smile. "Son, I've been dealing with men like that longer than you've been alive," he said. "Go do what you need to do." Logan studied him for a moment, then nodded. "All right." He stepped back toward Coda, crouching down beside him again. "I'll be back," he said quietly. Coda didn't move, but his ear twitched slightly. Logan reached out, brushing his hand gently along the dog's side. "Stay here," he murmured. "That's an order." A faint exhale. Logan stood, turned, and headed for the door. The cold hit him again as he stepped outside, but now it felt different, sharper, cleaner, like it belonged to him now. He moved quickly, heading down the path toward the lower ridge, boots cutting through the snow with purpose. The mountains stretched around him, silent and vast. But Logan wasn't lost in them anymore. He knew exactly where he was going, and why. After several minutes, his phone buzzed faintly. Signal. Weak. But enough. He stopped, dialed. The line rang once, twice. Then, Rachel Monroe. Her voice was calm, professional. Logan exhaled slowly. "Rachel," he said. "It's Logan Pierce." A brief pause, then, "Logan?" she said. I've been trying to reach you for weeks. Where have you—" "I found it," Logan said. Silence. Then, "You found what?" "My father's protection," he replied. "The trust, the documents, everything they tried to hide." Another pause. Longer this time. Then her voice changed. Sharper. Focused. "Are you safe?" Logan looked back toward the mountains, toward the cabin, toward Coda. "For now," he said. Rachel didn't waste time. "Then listen carefully," she said. "If what you're saying is true, we can stop them. But you need to get back here, with everything you have." Logan nodded. "I will." "And Logan," she added. He waited. "They're not going to make this easy." Logan's expression hardened slightly. "They already tried," he said. Rachel didn't respond right away. Then, "All right," she said. "Then we'll be ready." The line went dead. Logan lowered the phone slowly. The wind moved through the ridge again. But this time, it didn't feel like a warning. It felt like something else. A line being drawn. Logan turned, started back up the mountain. Each step steady, controlled, focused. He wasn't the man they had thrown out anymore. And when he came back down that mountain, he wasn't coming alone. The town looked smaller than Logan remembered. Same streets, same buildings, same quiet rhythm of life that hadn't changed in years. But everything felt different now, clearer, sharper, like a place he no longer belonged to, but one he still had to face. Logan's truck rolled slowly down Main Street, tires humming against the asphalt. The snow had thinned here, leaving behind wet pavement and patches of slush. People moved about their day, unaware, uninterested, normal. Logan pulled up in front of a modest brick building, Monroe and Associates. He turned off the engine. For a moment, he just sat there, hands resting on the wheel, breathing steady. Coda lay across the passenger seat, wrapped in a thick blanket. His breathing was calm now, eyes half open, watching Logan. Still there, always there. Logan reached over, resting his hand gently on him. "We're almost done," he said quietly. Coda's tail shifted once. Logan nodded, then stepped out. Inside, the office was warm, quiet, organized. The faint scent of paper and coffee lingered in the air. Rachel Monroe stood near the back, already waiting. She didn't waste time. "You made it," she said. Logan nodded. "I brought everything." He placed a thick folder on the table, and Rachel opened it immediately. Her eyes moved quickly, focused, precise. Minutes passed in silence. Then, she looked up. "This is enough," she said. Logan didn't react. "I know." Rachel closed the folder. "They've been trying to transfer ownership through layered shell agreements," she continued. "But your father locked it down tighter than I expected." Logan crossed his arms. He knew they'd try. Rachel nodded. He also knew how to stop them. She looked at him carefully. "This goes to court. It ends fast." Logan's voice stayed calm. "It doesn't need to go that far." Rachel raised an eyebrow. "You sure about that?" Logan met her gaze. "I want it done clean," he said. "In front of them." Rachel studied him for a moment, then nodded slowly. "All right," she said. "Then we do it your way." The house hadn't changed, not on the outside. Same porch, same windows, same walls that had watched everything fall apart. Logan stood at the edge of the property, Rachel beside him. Coda remained in the truck, resting, but watching, always watching. Rachel adjusted her coat. "They're inside," she said. Logan nodded once, then started walking. Each step measured, controlled. The front door opened before he reached it. Diane stood there. Her expression froze the moment she saw him. Shock. Then something else. Annoyance. "You've got some nerve showing up here," she said. Logan didn't stop. Didn't slow. He stepped onto the porch. "This isn't your house," he said. Diane laughed sharply. "Oh, it absolutely is," she replied. Rachel stepped forward slightly. "No," she said calmly. It isn't." Diane's eyes flicked toward her. "And you are?" "Rachel Monroe," she replied. "Legal counsel for Logan Pierce." The shift was immediate. Subtle. But there. Diane straightened slightly. "You think you can just walk in here with paperwork and—" Rachel held up a document. "Not paperwork," she said. "Proof." Diane's smile faltered. Logan stepped closer. Close enough now. "You knew," he said quietly. Diane didn't answer. Her eyes flickered. Just for a second. That was enough. You knew it was never yours, Logan continued. Her voice sharpened. I took care of this family when your father— You took what wasn't yours, Logan cut in. Silence. Heavy. Unavoidable. Rachel stepped forward, placing the documents in Diane's hands. Everything you've done is documented, she said. The attempted transfers. All the agreements. The investor backing you. Diane's grip tightened on the papers. You don't understand how this works, she said. Logan's voice stayed calm. No, he said. You don't. A car door slammed behind them. Logan didn't turn. Didn't need to. He already knew. Footsteps approached. The same man from the mountains stepped into view. Calm. Controlled. You should have stayed out of this, he said. Logan finally turned. Their eyes met. You should have stayed off my land, Logan replied. The man's expression didn't change. You don't have the leverage you think you do. Rachel stepped forward. We have more than enough, she said. She handed him a second set of documents. Federal filings, trust protections, evidence of interference. The man took them, read quickly, then slower. His jaw tightened slightly. Aunt Logan watched him. Didn't speak. Didn't need to. The weight of the truth was doing the work for him. Diane looked between them. You can't just— Yes, Rachel said calmly. We can. Silence fell again. Long. Heavy. The man exhaled slowly, then handed the papers back. This isn't over, he said. Logan's voice stayed steady. It is for you. The man held his gaze for a moment longer, then turned, walked away. Just like that. Diane stood frozen, the papers trembling slightly in her hands. Logan looked at her, not angry, not loud. Just done. You didn't lose this house today, he said quietly. Her eyes met his. You lost it the day you chose greed. The words landed, final, unmovable. Diane didn't respond, didn't argue, because there was nothing left to say. Logan stepped back, turned, and walked away, not rushed, not looking back. Rachel followed. The house stood behind them, still the same, but no longer hers. Logan reached the truck, opened the door. Coda lifted his head slightly. Logan smiled faintly. It's over, he said. Coda's eyes stayed on him, steady. Logan climbed in, started the engine, and drove. This time, not away, but forward. The mountains looked different in spring. Snow had begun to melt along the lower ridges, revealing dark soil beneath. Patches of green pushed through where winter had held its grip just weeks before. The air carried a quiet warmth now, softer than before, but still strong enough to remind you where you were. Logan stood at the edge of the ridge, looking out over the land. His land. Not because someone told him it was, but because he had taken it back. Piece by piece, truth by truth. Behind him, the ranch had begun to breathe again. The old fences were repaired, the barn doors stood open, sunlight spilling across the wooden floors inside. Tools were no longer rusting in silence. They were in use. Work had replaced emptiness, and for the first time in a long time, that felt right. Coda moved slowly beside him. The limp was still there. A reminder. A scar carried not in shame, but in loyalty. Logan glanced down at him. You're supposed to be resting, he said. Coda ignored him. As usual, He stepped forward, sitting at Logan's side, facing the same horizon. Still watching, still guarding. Logan shook his head slightly, a faint smile touching his face. "Yeah," he murmured. "Figured." The wind moved through the ridge, brushing gently across them. Not cold, not harsh, just there. Oh, Logan took a slow breath. No tension, no panic. Just quiet. A kind of quiet he hadn't known in years. He reached into his pocket, pulling out the folded letter. The edges were worn now, handled more than once. He didn't open it. Didn't need to. The words were already with him. He stepped forward, toward a large stone set into the ground near the ridge, freshly placed, solid, carved carefully. Logan knelt down, ran his hand across the surface. Pierce below it. Another name. Coda. He exhaled slowly. "You made sure I found it," he said quietly. "Not to the stone. To everything. To the past. To the man who had understood more than he ever said." Coda shifted beside him, leaning slightly into his shoulder. Logan reached over, resting his hand against him. "You stayed," Logan said. His voice was calm, steady. "You didn't have to." Coda didn't respond, didn't move, but he didn't pull away either. And that was the answer. Logan sat there for a moment longer, letting the silence settle. Not heavy, not empty, just full. A truck engine echoed faintly in the distance. Logan glanced back toward the ranch. Walter's truck pulled into view, moving slowly along the dirt path. He stepped out, giving a short nod in Logan's direction. Things had changed, but some things stayed. The right things. Logan stood, brushed his hands off, looked out across the land one more time. "This isn't about what he left," Logan said quietly. Coda's ears flicked. "It's about what we do with it." The words felt right, simple, true. Logan turned, started walking back toward the ranch. Coda moved with him, step for step. No hesitation, no distance. No, just there, always there. The sun dipped lower behind the mountains, casting long shadows across the land. But the light didn't fade. Not really. Because for the first time, Logan wasn't walking into darkness anymore. He was walking into something else. Something earned. Something built. Something real. And beside him, the one who never left. If this story meant something to you, don't just scroll away. Drop a simple 1 in the comments if you believe loyalty like Coda's still exists in this world. Or comment 0 if you've ever felt like Logan, lost, alone, and starting over. I read every single comment, and I want to know where you're watching from too. And if you felt even a moment of this story, the pain, the bond, the comeback, make sure you subscribe, because the next story might hit even closer to home. And trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next.